Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYNT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Today, 5 more states, Maryland, Michigan, Massachusetts, Indiana, and Washington, imposed restrictions on people's movements, bringing to 14 the number of states taking stronger measures to help slow the spread of the coronavirus. That action comes as Congress remains deadlocked over the details of a $2 trillion spending plan to help American workers and businesses impacted by the pandemic. CBS's Chris Martinez has the latest.
Halfway into the federal 15-day period to slow the spread of coronavirus, the president today said the administration will make a decision once the period is over about next steps.
Our country wasn't built to be shut down. America will again and soon be open for business, very soon, a lot sooner than 3 or 4 months.
There are now more than 41,000 coronavirus cases in the U.S. At least 600 Americans have died. The president said he's confident Congress will reach an agreement on a $2 trillion coronavirus stimulus bill.
We are going to save American workers, and we're going to save them quickly.
Tempers flared on Capitol Hill after Democrats blocked another procedural vote on the financial package.
Absolutely mindless obstruction going on the other side, while the public is waiting for us to act.
The legislation has many problems. At the top of the list, it includes a large corporate bailout with no protections for workers and virtually no oversight.
The meltdown continued on Wall Street. The Dow dropped 582 points, more than 3%, despite drastic action by the Federal Reserve to make borrowing easier for banks and other large entities. No state has been hit harder than New York, with half of the nation's COVID-19 cases. Today, Governor Andrew Cuomo ordered hospitals to increase capacity by 50%. The U.S. Navy ship Mercy is headed to Los Angeles, where doctors will treat non-coronavirus patients, and Attorney General William Barr warned those caught hoarding medical equipment will be prosecuted.
If you are sitting on a warehouse with masks, surgical masks, you will be hearing a knock on your door.
The president announced FEMA is distributing 21 million N95 and surgical masks. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
More American companies are converting their assembly lines to manufacture medical equipment, and the National Guard has been activated in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. Governor Andy Beshear says Kentucky now has 124 confirmed COVID-19 cases. Breathitt County now has 2 cases, a 23-year-old woman and a 49-year-old man. The Martin County Health Department also confirms a positive case there. Claiborne County, Tennessee, just across the Kentucky border, has its first case. And the Volunteer State now has more than 600 cases. A 4th person has now died in Kentucky. She's an 82-year-old woman from Lexington with underlying health issues. The governor also announced the Team Kentucky Fund today. Donations will help people impacted by COVID-19 and are tax deductible. And there is now a new hotline to report groups of businesses not complying with the governor's orders to close or change the way they operate. That number is 1-833-KY-SAFER or 1-833-597-2337. Again, that's 1-833-597-2337. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is defending his decision not to self-quarantine after learning he was exposed to the coronavirus. Paul is a physician as well as a politician, so several senators say he should have known better. Paul says, according to guidelines, he did not meet the threshold for getting tested for coronavirus. He says he felt fine and thought the test was just a precaution. He says that's why he didn't think he needed to self-quarantine. But even members of his own party say Paul made the wrong decision. Some GOP leaders tell CNN Paul went to the Senate gym Sunday morning. As cases of COVID-19 spread across the Commonwealth, health officials are warning there will be more. Officials continue to stress the importance of social distancing as well as self-isolating if you have symptoms or come in contact with someone who may have the coronavirus. Health officials say this is not just about slowing the spread, but about not overwhelming the healthcare system.
The next 2 weeks are extremely critical, and if I can emphasize anything to your viewing audience, is that we really need to heed these recommendations, because if we can slow the spread now, we're going to be able to manage this, and it's going to be at a level that is controllable for our healthcare resources, our partners at the hospitals and our clinics and so on. If we do not, then the demand for services is going to exceed our ability to provide them.
Lockhart says it's still very important to wash your hands and do not participate in large gatherings. Doctors' offices are trying to find new ways to keep patients isolated and at least 6 feet away from each other. Frontier Medical Associates has joined other doctors' offices in the region to offer a way to get checked out without even stepping out of your car. WYMT's Emily Bennett has more.
As cases of COVID-19 increase, some doctors' offices are looking a little different.
We triage actually in a tent behind the building.
Frontier Medical Associates started drive-through clinics.
We examine chest, we listen to their heart, we check their ears, we check their throat, we take their vitals.
Nurses examine them first, and then a doctor will come if needed.
They don't have to leave their car. I mean, we respect the elderly. We don't want them exposed no matter what.
Serving patients, even in bad conditions.
The weather did not help us. I mean, it's been rainy and windy all the time.
The clinic is offering COVID-19 testing in the drive-thru.
We have full capacity to test our patient.
The offices are still open, but most never step foot inside.
I'm guessing maybe 1 out of 20 people actually comes in the building.
Taking these precautions,
it's very difficult to put the cat back in the bag after it's out. So I think every measure we do is probably smart to do at this point.
To put patient health first. In Salyersville, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
For the patients that do come inside, the office is sectioned off to healthy patients and isolation. Everyone has their temperature checked as they come through the door. Small business owners worry about their future as closings continue across the state. Jeff and Sky Marietta, small business owners themselves, compiled a list of recommendations for the government to implement that could help keep small businesses like theirs alive. This comes after they just opened their coffee shop in Harlan less than 3 months ago, making their baristas ineligible for unemployment if it were to get to that point.
Many of us small business owners are already maxed out on loans, and that's what we did to open or continue running our business. So to add to that debt burden, especially as we're going into a recession, it's asking a lot of small businesses.
The Mariettas plan to start delivering coffee from Moonboat Tipple in Harlan tomorrow to help make up for lost business. Governor Beshear recommended last week that all schools close now until at least April 20th. It's an unusual sight for most schools in March to see quiet hallways and empty classrooms, but the learning must go on. Teachers have different approaches, whether it be paper packets sent home or Google Classrooms. Casey Huff, a writing and reading teacher, says everyone is working together to try and make the situation a positive and successful one.
The parents have been wonderful. Just helping, making sure that the kids get their work in, communicating, the open line of communication with the parents and the teachers has been really good. It's been a big help.
Knott County schools, like most others, are now closed until April 20th and will wait for further direction from the governor and Kentucky Department of Education to make any other decisions.
Well, we've seen those clouds stick around tonight, but at least we got a break from the rain. It won't last too much longer, though. We'll go ahead and take you up to a few of those cameras looking along Interstate 64 over into Moorhead. Pretty quiet this evening, and like I said, at least on the drier side. Much of the same story as we look along Interstate 75 into Mount Vernon. Pretty quiet and drying out over there. However, we are still hanging on to those clouds. We've seen those rain chances get out of here. Clouds might clear out a little bit as we head into tonight, but they'll increase pretty quickly as we head head into tomorrow. So to take this hour by hour, we'll continue to see those cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures look to drop into about the low to mid 40s, but we'll start to warm up once again heading into tomorrow, and it's by tomorrow evening, especially into those later overnight hours where we'll see soggy conditions return. Those continue Wednesday morning, but I promise we will have a very nice break on Thursday, and we'll see that sunshine return. I'll have more on that coming up in a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. Elkhorn City Mayor Mike Taylor made a contribution to the battle against COVID-19 today by cleaning out his storage items. Taylor donated 1,500 medical masks and 150 hazmat suits to Pikeville Medical Center. He says it was his way to give back to the medical professionals who are working to keep people safe. PMC's James Glass says it is a great showing of support.
This is an excellent example of the community, the region coming together, contributing to the hospital so that we can provide for the needs of our patients.
Glass says PMC is already prepared to handle whatever comes its way, but he is thankful for donations like this that help in their mission. A respiratory therapy student in Georgetown is using her time out of class to help others. Claire White has a talent of sewing and has since been making masks to be donated to nurses, doctors, and first responders during a national mask shortage. She says the masks are not the answer to the shortage, but every little bit can help.
Because of the shortage of this kind of equipment, my clinicals have been canceled. They're not letting students in. I'm stuck at home with not a lot to do, and I want to do something to keep my hands busy. And since I'm not able to be there learning from this experience, unfortunately, I want to at least do something to try and help.
Meanwhile, Birdsong Quilting and Crafts in Georgetown is donating fabric for more masks to be made for pediatric nurses and first responders. The store has posted a template on their Facebook page and says if you want to drop masks off, they will make sure they get to the proper hands. We'll have more on the national mask shortage a little later in the newscast. And Dollywood down in East Tennessee is hoping for reopening in May. Officials say they are also suspending operations of Dollywood's Dreammore Resort and Spa. Dollywood's Smoky Mountain Cabins are still open. Anyone with reservations during the closing can call for rescheduling. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a devastating fire at a local church. Hear from the pastor who is still finding a positive message.
Showers and storms will be back into the mountains tomorrow night, but when does sunshine return again? I'll have those details coming up.